Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Econ Vision by your teaching buddy. Today I am here back with another video on measures of central tendency. Measures of central tendency is one of an important topic in statistics which everyone needs to know. This is a kind of a topic which we start studying from classes 3rd, 4th, 5th, but we do not know that how do we calculate it in a right way, but we completely just mug up the formulas and try to implement it on the questions, which is not a correct way to know it. In junior classes we are told that just remember the thing that it is mean, it is median, but we do not know the actual reason why we are applying it and why it is known as the central tendency, under which category does it fall, what we are going to study, what we are studying. We just mug up the formulas and try to solve the questions. But in today's video, we'll actually learn why do we need to calculate this central tendency, what it is actually, and how we have to implement it in a right way. We'll start from the basic. This video is from junior section also, if I talk about for classes 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And if I talk about the graduation student also, some students find it difficult to understand what is central tendency and how to implement the formula, and they are not able to memorize that, or they are not able to understand this, that how we have to apply it. So we learn something in this video. Okay. Measures of central tendency, it is basically a single value which is representing an entire set of data. Measures of central tendency will give you one single value which will represent the complete scenario. Okay, let's take an example. You went to a sweet shop and there you find laddus. I think everyone likes laddu, right? So let's take an example for laddu. There was a tray in which there are number of laddus kept, right? If you want to know that how this laddu is in taste, are you going to taste each laddu for knowing this, that all the laddus are good enough or sweet enough to have, or you are just going to have one laddu to know that the entire tray is same, it has same sweetness, it is of same quality? I guess the more practical way to know that laddus are of good quality is to have only one laddu to know that entire tray is same, right? So this is the way we can understand the central tendency. Central tendency is something where one laddu is representing the entire tray. Okay, measures of central tendency, this central tendency is that one value which will represent the complete tray of numbers, right? I hope it's clear what is measures of central tendency. We are going to study the measures, what are the different measures, but basically central tendency is something where one value represents the entire scenario, right? Where one value is going to represent the entire group of numbers, right? Okay, let's start to know that what are the type of central tendency and how do we measure. Okay, there are central tendencies, that is, or central tendency can be termed as an average. Average is basically one value that represents the complete value, right? Now there are three different kind of averages. First is mathematical average, second is positional average, and third is commercial average. Mathematical average further holds three different parts. The very first is arithmetic mean. Arithmetic mean, which is also known as AM. Second is harmonic mean, which is also known as HM. Third is geometric mean, which is also known as GM. These are three mathematical averages because we need to put some formulas to calculate this mathematical average, or with the mathematical way these averages are calculated. If I talk about the positional average are further divided into two parts, that are median and mode. They are known as the positional average because they are not calculated on the actual values, they are calculated according to the position of them. Position of them basically means is that they are not calculated, like if the numbers are given to be as example 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and we need to find the positional average for it. We are not going to find these values, we are not going to calculate using these values, we are going to actually calculate their position, that 2 is at in first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth and sixth position. In this way we are going to calculate it, we are not going to take their actual values, that's why they are known as the positional values. Now if I talk about their representation, median is represented with M, mode is represented at with Z. I have told the other also, arithmetic mean is represented with AM, harmonic with HM and geometric with GM. If I talk about the commercial averages, then commercial averages are of three types. The very first type is the moving average. The next is the progressive average, and third is the composite average. We are further going to know about them, that how these are going to be calculated, but for time being we need to know that there are three type of an averages. First is mathematical average, second is positional average, and third is commercial average, where mathematical average further holds with the three division, that is arithmetic mean, harmonic mean and geometric mean. Positional average is further bifurcated into two parts, that is median and mode. And third is commercial average with the further bifurcation of three things, that is moving average, progressive average and composite average, right? How we are going to calculate these things, we are going to study in the other videos. For the time being, these things you need to remember, that there are three things, right? Now, before starting their calculation, we need to know some basic things. Some basic things includes like series and its type. Series is something which holds the group of numbers like 2, 4, 7, 9, 11. This is a series. Now what kind of a series it is, how we can identify it, this we are going to study in this particular video. Okay, so first is an individual series. Series is basically of three types: individual, discrete and continuous. Individual series is that series in which there are only numbers given. Numbers given like example 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Individual series is that series in which number is repeated only once or twice. All the numbers are not repeated in the particular series. As we can see in this series, only 4 is been repeated once. Every other number is distinct from one another, it is different from one another. That is known as an individual series, where the numbers are not repeating themselves, right? Now let's come to discrete series. Discrete series is something when we have a kind of a series where numbers are repeating continuously and we represent those numbers into table format, where discrete series holds the word frequency. Frequency is basically the number of times a particular number is being repeated in complete series. Let's take an example. Example is 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Now here I can see that there are numerous numbers, those are repeating themselves. Like 1 is repeating twice, 2 is repeating thrice, then 5 is also repeating twice. There is no point writing such numbers. Like suppose there are 10,000 students and they have got marks out of 10, and there will be numerous values that will come under it, and the numbers marks are given in a whole number like 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, and there will be numbers that will be repeating themselves. So there is no point writing ten thousands value, and it will just waste your time and paper, and it will be unmanageable and ununderstandable that what does this is going to say, right? In that case we use discrete series, where we form a frequency to it. Frequency is basically the number of times the value is repeating. Let's suppose name this series as an x, then we put up as an frequency, then we put up as an telemark, right? Now what are the distinct numbers? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are the distinct number. They are repeating themselves in a series. The only difference is this, right? So the x value will be the numbers those who are distinct, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If there are furthermore numbers those who are distinct, we are going to write it in this x variable only, right? Then we are going to find out the frequency. Basically the number of times one is repeating itself. So one is repeating twice, so the frequency for one is 2. Then 2 is repeating thrice, the number of frequency for 2 is 3. Then 3 is repeating once, 4 is also repeating once, 5 is repeating itself by 2, and 6 is repeating itself by once, right? Now what is telemarks? Telemarks is something making them represent in the stick format. Stick format is basically when there are two, so we represent with two stands. When there are three, we represent it with three stands. Then one with one stand, one with one stand, two with two stands, and one with one stand, right? This is the way we are going to represent the telemarks. But what if there are more than five, right? So we represent telemarks like 1, 2, 3, 4. Till 4 we represent it like this, but when it comes to 5, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and fifth is the crossword. The further we can do it like, if you want to represent it like suppose 7. So 5 we have done, 6 and 7. It will continue to be like this. Right? I hope it's understand what does telemarks is. If you don't understand, please comment down. I'll explain or make one separate video on telemarks also. See, now individual series and discrete series, they both are same, just the way of representing them is different. Now I can write this particular series, that is x and f, into discrete format also, as it is written here. Just to make it manageable and easy to understand, I have made them in a discrete format, right? Now let's take the same example for continuous series to understand what does continuous series means. There are 10,000 students in a school. They were given with one test which was out of 10 marks, and there was no rules and regulation that the marks need to come in a whole number. Now there is no restriction that marks need to come in whole number. Student can achieve 1.5, 0.5, 2.25, 3.35, 4.45. These marks can also appear in this. Now it would be more difficult for us to understand and to calculate the value, that how these values are representing and what does it is telling to us that student have got more 10 marks or more 5 marks, because it is really hard to manage these things on a paper. So what we did is we made a continuous series. Continuous series is something which holds the class interval. Class interval is basically, we are going to tell that intervals in which the marks are coming. Then it comes with the frequency part. Like suppose there were 10, as I told you, there were 10,000 students. So we made a criteria that all those students who are getting marks in between 0 and 2, then 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. We have converted some intervals, like all those students who are going to get marks in between from 0 to 2 will fall under first interval, like it is going to fall under this interval. The student those who are getting marks more than 2 and between 4 will be falling in the second category. But there are two different continuous series which I am going to tell you further. Just try to remember this thing. The student those who are getting 0 to 2, between 2 marks, like suppose there were 100 students, and between 2 to 4 there were 250 students, and from 2 to 8 there were suppose 750 students, and they were 579 students, and from 0 to 10 there were suppose 900 students. Now it seems manageable and it's easy to tell that in which range student have got the highest marks. As seeing the table, I can say that the highest marks is between 8 to 10 the students have got out of 10,000 students, right? Below 0 ones are fail, and after 10, the 10 was a maximum mark, so student cannot get it, right? So this is a continuous series where we form a series into an interval part so that we can better understand, right? Now I was talking about the continuous series are of two type. There are two types of continuous series. One is inclusive and one is exclusive, right? Exclusive is the one where there are two limits. Let's first try to understand this. There are two limits. This is known as a lower limit, this is known as an upper limit. Lower limit basically means if a student is getting 0 marks, will fall under this category. If a student is getting an highest 2 marks, will be termed as an upper limit for this particular interval. But will it be added into this interval or not, we'll see in the two types of continuous series. Okay, so exclusive is the one where the upper limit is excluded. Like if I'm talking about intervals from 0 to 2 and 2 to 4, here 2 is excluded from the first interval. What does it mean is, if a student is getting exactly 2 number, will not be counted in this interval, it will be counted in the next interval. If a student is getting a marks from like 1.99999, will be calculated in the first interval, but the exact 2 value will be calculated in the next interval. Is it fine? Right. If I talk about inclusive series is something like 0 to 0.9, then 1 to 1.9, then 2 to 2.9, then 3 to 3.9. Okay. Now, exclusive is the one where the upper limit and the lower limit for this particular interval will be included into this only. Like if a student is getting 0.9 marks, will be included in the first, but if a student is getting exactly 1 marks, will be calculated in the next interval. Now how can we find out the difference between the inclusive, whether it is an inclusive series or an exclusive series? The basic and the simplest difference that one could understand is, in an exclusive series, the low upper limit for the first interval and the lower limit for the second intervals are same. I repeat it. The upper limit for the first interval and the lower limit for the second interval are always same. If they are same, that means it is an exclusive series. We are going to exclude the upper limit. And if I talk about inclusive series, the upper limit for the first interval and the lower limit for the next interval are not same. Okay, now there is one drawback for an inclusive series. Now suppose if there is a number that, or a mark student is receiving 9.8, now will it be included into this interval or will it going to be included in this interval? Because it is greater than 0.9 but it is less than 1, so lower limit is 1 and the upper limit for this is 0.9. Now this particular number does not fall in any of the category. So while solving the question, we have to directly or indirectly convert the series into exclusive series, right? From inclusive to exclusive. I hope it's clear to everyone about the inclusive and exclusive type of series and the measures of central tendency. The reason being is because it's really important for you to understand these things to start with an arithmetic mean part, right? Thank you so much. If you like the video, do comment. If you have any doubt, you can comment it down. Just like and subscribe the channel.